Ramachandra College, Dr. Raghuram, and for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. Without making much delay or due, I would like to share my experience. This lecture will be somewhat it will be technical, but I am sure at the final stage you will be able to know the importance of home accessibility. This will be helpful for you when you're going to practice in home care setting or in community setting, or if you're going to make your own house. It will be useful for you to have a friendly environment, user-friendly environment, or if you're going to care for your elders, you have your own parents who is going to become elder in future. So this home accessibility assessment and recommendation lecture will be helpful for you in the lifelong. So I hope you all will stay until the end of my session and get the knowledge of it, so that you don't want to go into your books or you don't want to browse in your internet when the stage like you wanted to make some changes for your elder. You don't want to browse. It will stay on your mind if you're going to stay still the final stage of my lecture. So to make sure that audio is clear to everyone. Rima, can you please, Madam Rima?
Yes.
Okay, fine. And my slide is visible to all?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible. If not, I request people to text on the chat box.
That's good. And the next thing will be the discussion session will be at the final stage. You can make a note of your queries, everything. You can make it note. You can either give it to Madam Rima to ask me, or you can just put her hands up and you can open your audio and you can have a discussion. I don't want to go back to the chat because I'm not that much experienced and expert in connecting with the laptop. Okay, without further delay. Oh my God. So the topic of today's presentation is home accessibility assessment and recommendations for safety in adults. So myself, Indra Suresh Babu. So before going into the lecture of home accessibility, I just want to give a brief idea about what I am doing as an occupational therapist in home healthcare service. What is our goal and what is the current services we are providing? The goal of our home healthcare services is to facilitate reintegration of people with disability into their home community by addressing their accessibility, physical, equipment needs. Current services that we provide are: first is the basic and basic ADL and instrumental ADL, the education, assessment, training, everything. Self-management, functional mobility training, which includes all your transfer, bed mobility, splinting, pressure management, fall, everything comes under this one. Cognitive perceptual assessment, education and training. Equipment evaluation, education and training. In that we have a standard equipment and a specialized equipment. That is another topic. In future, if I had a chance, I will come and able to explain to you more about that one. And the last but not the least, home accessibility assessment for safety, which is today's topic.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
For some people the slides are still not visible. So can we restart the slide, the presentation?
Okay. Stop sharing.
Again, I request everyone to use the pin option on the presenter screen so that you will pin the slides to your desktop and it will not be interrupted. It is because you're not pinning it, it is not visible for you. So we cannot interrupt her in between and ask her to share again. So for the last time, she will do it again. So please cooperate with us and pin the slides to the screen.
Is it visible?
Uh, it is visible for me. I want the others to reply on the chat if it is visible now. Okay, so people are telling it is visible, ma'am. So 1 minute, ma'am, let me tell them that please pin the slide. The pin option is there. When you go to the center of the slide, the pin to screen option is there. So please pin this pin the slides to the screen so that it won't be interrupted. We cannot, again, I'm telling, we cannot interrupt her in between. So please cooperate with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rima, for your support. So you want me to go back and come again, or I can go from this slide onwards? Hello, Rima?
Ma'am, can you repeat the first slide, because I think people missed it. The first, yes.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Yeah, thank
sorry.
you. So for the person who was not able to get the first slide point, so I'm repeating back again. So basically, what is our goal in home healthcare services is to facilitate reintegration of people with disability into their home and community by addressing the accessibility, physical and equipment needs. The current services that we provide in home healthcare services are basic ADL and instrumental ADL, their assessment, training, education, everything, self-management, functional mobility training, which includes all your bed mobility, your transfer, your splinting, your fall prevention, pressure relieving equipments and management. Everything comes under hand function training. Everything comes under the functional mobility training. Cognitive perceptual assessment, education and training. Equipment evaluation, education and training, which includes the standard equipment and a specialized equipment. If in future I have an opportunity, I will be able to present you about the equipment also. The last is the home accessibility assessment for the safety, which is our today's topic on. So what is the age group we are focusing here is adolescent and adult, which we are also having a pediatric group, but I'm into the adult population. I'm taking care of the adult population. So my age group is adolescents and adult. The diagnosis which we frequently encounter is TBI, that is the traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, CVA, CP, GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome, multiple sclerosis, road traffic accidents, and other single and multiple disabling conditions. So what is the scope? Scope is the outpatient, which means we go into the field work, we go into the house of the patient, and we try to do the assessment, intervention, and we do the discharge planning. So our scope is outpatient. So basically what we will do is a day before we will call the patient, we will make a phone call and we will agree into a point of the appointment time, because since we are in a patient-centered care, we will most focus on their availability, their convenience, and their needs are important for us. So we will call them and we'll get an appointment, and then we'll try to go for the visit. And before that, we will have just a brush through with their medical record. That is because our scope is like it is in the final stage of rehabilitation, home healthcare services. So we have the records of the inpatient, the ICU, everything. So that medical record will give you a big idea about the patient's current potential, prior level of functioning, what is their expectation, what the therapists are doing. So we'll come into a conclusion of the patient with some ideas, not conclusion, it's a somewhat like idea it will give you to make some recommendations, or you can have an idea before you're going to the patient's house. So today's topic, what will be the learning objective, what you will achieve at the end of the session. The definition, what is the aim for the home accessibility, what are the process we are doing, what is the assessment we are doing, home modification, recommendations or ADA standard, that is the American Disability Act standard, and impact of right modification, what will happen if you're giving right modification, references and patient family education materials. So first about the definition. Home. Home, as you all know, it's a place of residence. What is accessibility? Accessibility means the degree to which an environment affords use of its resources with respect to an individual's level of function. It should be according to the function of the patient. If it is over the level, you will not be able to do it. You will get tired, you will get depressed, and you will not get motivated. You will not try to do it. So accessibility is very important. Recommendation for modification. What is recommendation for modification? An adaptation to the living environment intended to increase usage, safety, security, and independence for the users. This modification can be a simple one or it can be a complex one. Simple one like replacing a cabinet doorknobs with a pull handles to a full-scale construction project that requires installing a wheelchair ramp, widening doorways, kitchen remodeling. Home modifications are used in conjunction with assistive device and home repairs. So what is our aim for home accessibility? Safe reintegration of our clients back into their home and community. So what are the process we are doing for a home accessibility assessment and recommendation? First, we will check the patient safety, the level of the function in the physical environment. Like what is the demands, what are their activities they are doing in the daily time, where they are facing problems in their physical environment. We will do it. Then accessibility assessment, identify what are the barriers, gather all the household informations, then we will provide them the realistic recommendations for home safety and accessibility. Then we used to determine need for adaptive equipments or assistive technology to support and promote function. Education and training, last but not the least, provide PFE materials which are relevant for him or her. So we'll start with the assessment. Just like all the assessment, we also get a general information. This all you are all aware of it. Reason for referral, information given by whom, like his father or friends or his wife, the information, primary mode of communication, whether it's a verbal, written or sign language, primary language, like what language they speak with you. The next is the problem list, which has a diagnosis that you can get it from the medical record. Next is the pain assessment. This is one of our quality indicator. Even if a patient is having a pain, he might get up and because of the pain, he can lose the balance and he can buckle and he can fall. So pain is important when you're doing a home accessibility assessment. So in the pain assessment, what you have to focus, if at all the pain is there, you have to check the location, which area in the part of the body, laterality, right or left, quality, whether it is aching, burning, cramping, what is the type of pain, and duration since how long. Tool, what the tool we are using is the numeric rating scale, ABI scale, and if a patient is demented or like that, we use a facial recognition scale. Intervention depends on the patient, aggravating factors that you all are aware of. So home environment. So first we are checking the living situation. In the living situation, what you are checking is where the patient lives in labor camp, or he is staying in a house with a family or with a caregiver or assisted living. So lives with whom? He is living alone, he is living with the parents, living with the siblings, or lives with a wife. Lives in where he is living. He is living in a single villa-like type, or he is in an apartment. So everything what we are doing has a why component here. Why we are doing this one? If a patient in the first floor, what will happen if he has two lower limbs weakness are there? Is he will be able to have a accessible one to come down? So everything, the components what we are assessing has a why component. And then prior accessibility options. What is there? If they have any modification done previously, you can mention that one. Anticipated for home modification. Here usually there is two options only, yes or no option. Usually as we are going to the disability, sure we will give any one recommendations for modification or assistive modification, something we will give. So usually we will write it as yes only. Stair inside, outside, with or without rails. Like how many steps in outside the house, how many steps inside the house. We used to ask them, or we used to check them whether they have it with the side rails or not. Home setup. Home setup is in which floor he is staying. Either he is in the basement or he is in the ground floor, first floor, or second floor. Patient responsibility, whether he is caring for the pet, he is doing laundry, he is doing home maintenance, or he is a retired person, he is only doing a social participation. Whatever is his responsibility, you have to write down so that you will come to know where all he is moving, and that environment you can give an option for safety. So current home environment, current home treatment, sorry. What is the treatment going on in the house? Like if a patient with a ventilator, or if a patient is with an oxygen, or if a patient is with the IV fluid, that all you have to mention the current home treatment, what they are giving. Equipment at home, what all the equipments they have, whether they have a wheelchair, they have a bed, commode chair, what all the equipment, assistive devices, walker, canes, and any orthosis also if they are using prosthesis, anything you can write it in this one. Prior functional level, what is their functional level before, like in ADL, in mobility, in IADL, cognitive communication. Similarly, the same thing you have to mention about the current level also. Risk for fall, whether they will have a risk for fall. So community reintegration need, this has so many components, but today's focus is on the accessibility assessment. So you can see here accessibility assessment and education and training, we can fix it for this one. Cognition. In cognition, what we are going to focus is only for the 3 types, like attention. In the attention, you have to check for the sustain, alternating, divided, and attention to details. Memory, encoding, retrieval, prospective, procedural, and storage. I think so you all know, aware of this one till by now. If you want in detail about the cognition, I will take it in the next class also. Executive function, initiation, planning, organization, carry out plans, self-monitoring, categorization, problem solving, abstraction, flexibility. Like taking even a small medication from the drawer and taking it on time, and taking, they can break the medicine and taking it. That is also an initiation. They have a planning, they are having a carrying out the task. So this all the functional tasks which we are doing in our day-to-day life will have all these components. These are all the general assessment what we are focusing on. Apart from that, I will be able to explain to you what all the accessibility assessments we are doing. Upper extremity, we will check for the dominance, grip, function on the right side and the left side. Mobility, bed mobility we will check. Ambulation devices, if they are using anything, ambulation level, whether they are walking it with close supervision, with a clues, or with 25% assistance, 50, 75% assistance, or totally assisted, whatever the level of ambulation, we will mention it here. Or any stair devices they are using, what type of transfer they are doing, we will mention. Try to assess and mention. Psychosocial, whether it is accurate or impaired. What is psychosocial? It's a social and behavioral components, like a person with a disability, how he is engaging with the family, with his spouse, how he is very close, or he or she is very lonely, he is trying to avoid the situation, he is very quiet. Such things are all impaired, and which is good and which is social is accurate. So now coming on to my topic, structural assessment. Area, first area, like where the person is staying, like whether the patient is staying in Perambur, or whether he is staying in Vyasarpadi, or he is in Adayar, whichever area, you can mention it there. Driveway surface. Driveway, what is mean by driveway surface? From outside till the entrance of the patient house is called as a driveway. So what all you can observe from the driveway, here you can see it. The type of driveway, whether it is a concrete, sand, pebbles, gravel, or asphalt. Asphalt is tar-like road, it's present, okay? So you have to mention what is a type of driveway, whether it is sufficient space or not. Whether it is, why we are seeing, why we are checking for the sufficient space, because if a person is with a wheelchair use, they have to maneuver here, he has to have a space to do rotation, to do turning, to move forward and backward. And then if you find any problem here, and why you are seeing the type of driveways, if it is sand or pebbles, what will happen? The person, when he is an attendant propelled, it's okay. If he is a self-propelled one, and if he is using a powered wheelchair, he can go and triple forward and he can fall down. Or there will be a wear and tear in the equipment, so he has to frequently change it. So you have to check all this type of driveways. Now going on to the next one will be the entrance. So entrance, what you have to check is whether the location, the entrance is from the front, rear. Rear means back side. whether the entrance is from the back side or from the sideways. They can have all the areas, the entrance will be there, but you have to check where the patient is accessing. So you can give modification regarding that, or you can yourself go and check which is easier for the patient or which is safe for the patient. You can give the modification. If I have a front side 5 steps and a back side 2 steps, so it's better to give a backside recommendation than the front side recommendation. That's what we are checking, the location. And you have to check the number of steps, height of the steps. So here is the one. You can see number of steps here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps are there. And height of the steps you have to check. You have to check the width of each steps, you have to check. And depth. Why we are checking the depth? Sometimes if it is very small, you can fall. Actually, what will happen, you have your toes to hold, usually to grip your steps. What will happen if it is very small, you will not be able to hold. So you will have a chance to fall. So you have to have a standard depth. And you have to check for the handrails also, whether it is right side is there, left side is there, or only one side is there. What is the gripping surface, whether it is stable for the person with less sensory issue, with the sensory issues or with the fine motor problem. Is it okay with them? So you have to check the gripping surface also. If at all a ramp is there, you have to check whether it is existing or not. Gradient means correct size should be there. There is a standard size for everything. So that is the meaning of it. Right handrail, left handrail. If it is ramp is there, you have to check all these things. Entrance threshold. What is threshold? A small elevation in the entrance. We used to say it as Vasakala in our place. The Vasakal vandu, that one also you have to measure the height of the threshold. Okay. And then is the entrance height. Entrance height, how much is it? Entrance door, the door, whether it is swinging inside or swinging outside. Why we are checking this one? Swinging inside and outside. If a patient, like in a bathroom, in a small area, if a patient's house is a small one, and according to entrance, it's okay. In the entrance area, door is okay with swinging in or out, because a person from inside only will try to open. But check in the bathroom. My bathroom itself is a small one, and I'm using a chair with me, wheelchair. Okay, wheelchair or commute chair, I'm inside. If at all I'm falling down, if anybody from outside tries to open it, what will happen? You will hurt the person who is inside the door. So it's very important to check whether the door is swinging inside or outside. And then entrance doorway width. You have to check how much is the doorway width, because you have to access the wheelchair inside. If at all, if a patient is under ventilator, then during emergency you have to bring the ventilator also. So the door width you have to measure for easy accessibility of the client. Then entrance doorway height also you have to identify. Then what is the problem? If at all you find any problem in those things, you can mention it and you can do recommendation. The next is the passageway. The passageway, it's from the entrance to the room. So that is the way it's called as passageway. In this, what you will assess, you will check the flooring. The flooring, whether it's a tile, marble, wood, or carpet. Sorry. And the next thing is wiring. Is there any wire which is secured or not? And you will check for the lighting, whether it is sufficient or low. If there is any obstacles in this one, like unsecured throw rugs, that is a carpet which is not secured. What will happen if an unsecured carpet will be there? The edges will not be fixed into the floor. So what will happen? A person with any assistive device, like a walker, the cane he is using, or even his own foot, if he is having a hemiplegia, he will not be able to lift and keep it. So what will happen? He will get caught, the foot will caught under the carpet, and he will try to triple and fall forward. That's the reason we are saying to secure the throw rugs. That is the carpets we used to ask them to secure. And unsecured wires, the same way, the wires also, if it is not secured in the corners, you will trip forward. passage turning space. You have to check the space whether it is sufficient, adequate or inadequate for turning the wheelchair. So in this also, if you find any problems, you can write it and give the recommendations. So next will be the staircase. Number of landings. You have to check for the number of steps also is there. And then number of landings. What is called as landings? Landings are the resting surface. If I go up from here to here, there will be a landing surface. Then from here to here, there is a landing surface to give you a rest period. That is the landing surface. So you have to check the number of landing surfaces are there. Sizes of the landing surface, that also important, because if at all I'm tired, I should have a space to put a chair and sit there and get energy back, reverse back, and then I will go back again to walking. Next thing will be the type of staircase. There are various type of staircase available, like a straight one, or it can be a L, U, circular, spiral, curve, ladder type, split type. It's all is important, because why is that? If it is a ladder type, what will happen? It will have the step will have a hole in between. So you can, your leg can be caught inside and you can triple forward and fall. So that is not safe. So that all things you can identify as a problem and do recommendations accordingly. Now coming to the bedroom. We'll check the bedroom's type, whether it is a single or shared, and approximate size. Why we are checking the approximate size? If my bedroom is very small, I will be able to put only one wheelchair. Then if I have to do a transfer, I need two-person assistance, where they will stand and how I will do the transfer. So you have to check the approximate size based on the patient's functional capability and how much he needs. You have to assess that one. Bedroom door swing and swing out the same way. Then door width. This all things will be the same for all areas where he is going. Bedroom door, door width, height, thresholds, flooring. You have all the area you have to check for this one. Why we have to check the flooring? If it is very slippery, he can fall. Or if okay, then light switches, whether it is accessible or not. Bedroom light, whether it is sufficient or low. Next thing is what type of bed we have to check. King size or queen size or single or bunk bed. Usually king size is approximately 193 centimeter and queen size will be lesser than that, 152 centimeters. And bed height. Why we have to check the bed height? The same thing like for a transfer from the bed to the wheelchair. If the bed is very low, I have a difficulty. I have to move the patient. Like if I want to transfer him to the wheelchair, I have to lift him against the gravity and I have to put him on the wheelchair. Or if my bed is very high, from the wheelchair, going back to the bed will be very difficult. So I have to assess the bed height also. And adequate mattress, what type of mattress he is having, whether it is adequate or not, whether it is giving the purpose, serving the purpose for him, we have to assess. Obstacles, that is the rugs, their wires or any thrown objects down. If the children are there, cats are moving, birds are flying inside the house, everything will be the obstacles for the client who is having disability. Then drawer and closet, like whether he is able to access the drawer for taking his medicines or dress, anything, whether it is accessible according to the height. So you can identify the problems and you can do the recommendation. Same for this also. Bathroom, as I said previously, door swing in and swing out. Especially in the bathroom, it's better to have the door swing out, or it's better to have a sliding door also. It's okay. Then you have to check the width of the door, height of the door, if there is a threshold, and the flooring surfaces. Turning surfaces also is important in the bathroom. Then type of bath, like they have a tub or Roman bath or a commode. What type of bath they are using, you can assess. Type of taps, whether it is a lever type or a dual type. Dual type is two taps will be there. That one, and the lever one is just press and open. Then bath grab bars is available or not. So next thing in the bathroom, we have to check about the sink. In the sink, we have to check whether it is pedestal, cabinet, or whether it is accessible. What is pedestal? Pedestal is the length here down to the basin is called as pedestal, and cabinet is this will be this pedestal will be removed, and this sink will be attached only to the wall. It will be attached to the wall, and there will be a down cabinet will be here. So either this or that. What is the type of swing, whether it is accessible or not? So why we are doing that one? Because if a person with a wheelchair, if he is using this pedestal, what will happen? He will have a difficulty in going inside. His leg will not go inside and he will get hurt here. That's what the reason. The type of sink, tap, lever or dual. Type of toilet. Usually here we say Arabic or French, but for India, it's Indian or French type toilet, whether what is the type they are using. Toilet height, toilet grab bars, they have it or not, toilet rolls, and flush lever, whether it is accessible or not. Next, coming to their living room, the same. The room door, we have to check whether it is swing out or in. The width, height, threshold, flooring. This is common for all the area. Turning space, if he is going to use a wheelchair. Light switch, telephone, whether it is accessible. The next will be the kitchen. Kitchen will be the same thing again here also in kitchen. What you have to check is the door, width, height, threshold, flooring. Turning space, light switch, sink here. You have to check for the sink, sorry. Tap here, cabinets, whether it is reachable for the client or not. Fridge, dining table height, what all the problems they are facing here, and give them the recommendations accordingly. Now, after finding all these problems, everything, how we are giving education. First, we will find a home caregiver, whether there is present or not. We will identify the home caregiver. Then we will check, is there any barriers to our learning, like whether he or she is illiterate or he is having a language barrier, or what is the barrier, we will mention it there. Teaching method, what type of teaching we are using here currently is, we are explaining to the person, teach back, we are giving printed materials, and since there is a lockdown now, we are using video, web-based, and we are giving them class and demo also. So what all that, these are all the teaching method, we are currently following it here. So how to check the compliance, like whether they are following our program, what we are educated or not, we are asking them to verbalize that back. Then ask them to show it back, demonstrate, whether they need further teaching or need practice. We will mention it in our education. The last thing is our discharge plan. When our goal is met, we will discharge them, and we will write the overall progress. What is the current progress, what we have achieved, what is the barriers to the discharges, whether they are not able to do, whether they are not able to understand properly, what is the current barriers for the discharge. You have to write it here. Discharge recommendations, whether they have to go back to physiotherapy. Okay. Discharge recommendations and referral, whether they need any referral to other services like physiotherapy or speech or any other services they need, we used to refer them. So now comes into what is home modification. Home modification, it's of two types. One is expensive, another is not expensive. Expensive means you're going to make a ramp, or you're going to widen the door width, or you're going to make the cabinet or your kitchen area down according to the reachable area. This all is expensive method. And which is not expensive are, you can clear this area. See here, all the things are scattered, which will be high risk for a patient with a disability to walk against this one. So to clear this one, it's not a big deal. And next thing is, here there is glass component, which is for the bath purpose. So that if you want, you can remove it. And here also pedestal, that can be removed. These are all not much expensive, and getting a shower chair with a suction cap, it's all easier, and installing the grab bars or having a scooter, these are all not so expensive. So what home modification is right for me? According to the Rehabilitation Engineering and Assistive Technology Society of North America, that is RESNA, home modification should improve the following features of a home. What all it has to improve? It has to be accessibility, adaptability, universal design, and visibility or visitability. So what is accessibility? Improves accessibility means making the door wider or clearing the space for a wheelchair to pass, lowering the counter height of the sink and kitchen cabinet, installing the grab bars, or placing the switch and electrical outlets at a height that can be easily reached. This is accessible. Like whichever they want to reach, it should be near to their hand, and it should be, they can get it easily without spending more energy or without going to try another method and they are going to fall. That all has to be accessible, near to them. Adaptability is the features or changes that can be made quickly to accommodate the need of a seniors or person with disability without having to completely redesign the home or use different material for essential fixation. See, like here, cabinet is being fixed, so they don't want to go run and bring the clothes. It can be accommodated here. So these are all an adaptations you can do to reduce fall and increase the safety of the person. So next is it should be a universal design, or otherwise it is called as lifespan design. What is that one? Universal design are usually built into a home when the first blueprint or architectural plans are drawn. So see here, like a ramp, when you're building a house itself, if you think about the future, if you think about your parents, or if you think about your own self also, in future you're going to become old only. So it's better to have a ramp if at all you need it. So that is all called as a universal design. And see here, there is no pedestal under the sink. And this is a lever style door handle. There are many styles, like a round knob is available. What happens if a person with a fine motor what is that, he is having fine motor problem? What will happen? He will not be able to grasp the round one. So what he can use it, this is a universal design. What will happen in the lever design, even though if you don't have your fine muscles working nicely, you can use your fist, you can press to open it, or you can use your elbow to press it and try to open it. So these are all called as a universal design, which can help the person in whatsoever disability they have. Visitability. What is visitability? It's include home modification for people who may want to entertain physically challenged guests, or who wish to plan ahead for a day when they may require some extra help in getting around their own homes. So visitability is for user-friendly. Your environment should be user-friendly for yourself, for your friend, for your colleagues, and for your parents, everybody. So this also you have to consider when you're building your house. Why we need home modification? According to the recent AARP, what is that one? It's the American Association Retired what is that one? Retired person, sorry, housing survey. 83% of the older Americans want to stay in their current homes for the rest of their lives. But other studies shows that most homes are not designed to accommodate the need for the people over age to 65. Most older people lives in the home that are more than 20 years old. As this building gets older along with their residents, they may become harder to live in or maintain. A house that was perfectly suitable for a senior at 55, for example, may have too many steps or slippery for a person who is 70 or 80. Research by National Center for Disease Control and Prevention shows that home modification repairs may prevent 30 to 50% of all home accidents, including fall, that takes place in older homes. And also recent research shows that bathroom falls are more common with injuries because of the slippage on the floor. And also there is another research which showed that the specific area where is the hazard more. It was by Gilton and co-workers. They have taken 296 participants and they have checked with the 9 areas, and they came into a conclusion that greatest hazard mostly first was with the bathroom, that is 88% there is a fall, which is hazardous for them. And next thing is the kitchen, 76%, bedroom is 61%, and and entrance area was 58. So main area where we have to focus more is the bathroom and your kitchen area. So advocating for home modification, advocating is supporting for home modification. Can I get a grab bars installed in my bathroom? You want to support yourself with home modification? Yes. So here is the solution for that. This is the act which is standard one for an accessible design. ADA, American Disability Act. This law was implemented to set guidelines for accessibility to places of public accommodation and commercial facility by individual with disability. This act was established in 1990. This regulation adapted revised enforceable accessibility standard called 2010 ADA standard for accessible design. We here in Qatar, we try to recommend installation of equipment as close to this standard as possible. And you can check with in your computer also, you can Google it, 210 ADA standard PRT PDF. And this is, it's a mobile application also, ADA Access mobile application. You can download it and you can check for the standard. You can study it and you can check for the standards where all you need it, even going outside in the cinema or where all the accessibility, if you are working in the school, what is the recommendation you have to give, everything is available in this mobile application. You can download it in your mobile. Other standards, apart from this American ADA, what all the other standards available? Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1998, American National Standard Institute. This is a local and public standards. They have a central standard also. What is that one? Is the Uniform Federal Accessibility Standard. So now coming into the recommendations, the minimum requirement for a ramp, how the ramp has to be. See here, 1:12. For every 1 inch or centimeter, whatever the thing you are putting, for every one, it should be 12-inch slope. So if I have a raise here, 29-inch, it has to be multiplied by 12, which will be 348-inch slope. Sorry. So 28-inch rise means I should have a 348-inch slope. This is a standard minimum requirement. There can be like you can reduce it to 1:10 also, but this is the standard. That is for the straight ramp. Now, if a ramp, if you want to have a U-shaped ramp, what is the measurement you have to have? Like you can see the handles, the handrails, it should be 90 centimeter from the floor. It should be 90 centimeter. Here, the wide width should be 100 centimeter width and 500 centimeter length it should be. And if you have a landing surface, the landing surface should be 150 centimeter. That is 1.5 meters landing surface should be there. These are all the universal standards. So in the ramp, we have a two type of ramp. One is a fixed one, one is a portable one. Why we are giving a portable ramp is when the area is very small and it's not practical to install a ramp here. If a ramp is going on, how the other person will go if the area is small. So we will recommend them for a portable ramp. This portable ramp, you can see here, the fold here, it can be folded into one part, and it has an extension also. It can accommodate, now it is 3 steps, it can accommodate 5 steps, 7 steps, like that also. It can be extendable. The next thing is the fixed ramp with handrails on both sides with aluminum. This is it's made up of aluminum material. You can make it with a wood, or you can make it with concrete. You can make it with a concrete also. So what is available here? You can see the edge down. There is ridges here. This, why it is here? To avoid the slippage of the caster wheels. Sometimes the caster wheels will slip away, so we have a ridge here to accommodate. And you can use the adhesive non-slip strips also. It's available in the online shopping also. You can order for an adhesive non-slip strips. You can place it in a horizontal way here, so that it will not slip, you will not slip down. So as I said previously, the handrail should be 90 centimeter above the floor. This is a universal design. If a person is able to walk with lower limb weakness and he has only one steps, then you can use a handrail installed to the wall itself, and it should be 90 centimeter above the floor. So this handrail should not be like what you are using for cloth hanging, or we are using it for the bathroom. It's not like that one. It should be steady. It should be like it should bear the weight of the person. Otherwise, we had an accident. One of our patient who used the bathroom handrails, and he was broken that one, and he had a fall also. So you have to select a steady, strongest one. Slope in the threshold, there is a slope, so you have to make a there is a threshold, you have to make a slope 6 feet long. The slopes can be either, it can be made with the wood also, or you can make it with POP. We used to ask them to make it with POP just to make a slope like thing, so that the wheelchair and the commode chair will be accessible. The acceptable threshold in the standard is 2 centimeters. That is only half an inch is being allowed for a person is using a wheelchair or a commode chair. So next is the bathroom recommendation. What all recommendations we can give in the bathroom? This is called as a grab bars. This grab bar should be 90 centimeter above the floor, and this is also a grab bars, but it is 60 centimeter long. Why we are giving this one? For some person we will give this one, for some person we will not, we will be able to give this one. What is the reason? Because this is less expensive, this is more expensive. This is this will cost only 100 riyals or like that, but this one cost around 500 to 800 riyals. So this one we are for non-Qataris or non-nationals, we don't recommend this one. We used to give this one only. And how this measurement should be? It should be 60 centimeter long, and it should be 30 centimeter away from the wall and 90 centimeter above the floor. This is the standard. And your bathroom door should be 90 centimeter apart. If you have a wash basin, it should be 77 centimeter above the floor. So if you're using the I will speak about this one, door sensor. We are here we are able to see with assistive technology also, the technology also we are able to provide them. That is the door sensor automatic light on. If they open the door, automatically the light will get on. So it's easier for them, don't want to go and switch on, or if they are in dizzy mood or something, they don't want to fall also. So it's easier if they open the door, the lights will on. The next thing will be the mirror. The mirror can be either, it can be lower down, or we have seen like this also, hinged mirror. That is, it's hinged here. It can move anywhere, or it can be a gooseneck, or sometimes we have seen a slant mirror also. You see the slant one. If for a wheelchair user, if it is a slant, it's easy visibility for the person to check his face. So these are the other options for the mirrors we are giving them. So what we have to do, if there is a tub, we have to remove it. We have a door sills, that is any protrusion here, we have to remove it. Grab bars in the wash area, like wash basin, if it is there, then you have to make them, give them a grab bars, which should be as usual 90 centimeters above the floor. So these are the other recommendation. Like you can see here, this is fixed to the floor. It's very steady so that the patient will not fall. Here it's a grab bars. With this one, it's a collapsible one. What will happen here is, you see here is a hinge. If the patient is inside the toilet, you can make it down. If the patient is not, if he wants to transfer to some other surface, you can move it up. It is a hinged one. You can move it up and he can transfer to the other surface. So fixing shower. See here, this is the adjustable one, the shower. It can be adjusted to any height and you can fix it according to the patient's need. This is a collapsible shower seat we are recommending, and already patients are having. This is, it can be folded up into the wall. It can be into the wall. It can be folded into the wall. When you need them, you can bring it down and you can see a suction cup so that it is safe to use. for shower. The next thing is about the grab bars to the wash area. These are all the variety of grab bars we are giving for variety of reasons. See here, there is a hinge so that the mirror can be moved up and down. So here there is all-in-one touchless washing surface. You can see it's a hand sensor. If you put your hand, it will automatically. It's a technology based. We are recommending to our patients, and already they are having it. The next, you can see the another type of grab bars to the toilet. It's like seat only, another seat only. They have made it. You can see here with a cushion back, and it's fixed to the wall so that it is very sturdy. And this was given to an obese patient also, so it's more comfortable and safe. Next thing in the bathroom, what we are recommending is the non-skid mat. The name itself, it shows that non-skidding, like it will not allow you to fall down. It will not give you slippery surface. So see, here is the recommendation done. It's a non-skid mat all over the bathroom tile. It has been placed. It has a porous also, and you can see here the drainage outlet is here, so the water can drain here, and it can be removable. It can be dried and put back again. It is not much infection oriented. See here, it's a hinged one. You can make it up, and so that the patient can try to transfer. So next thing is, you can see the next recommendation according to the ability of the patient. If he is in the sitting position, he can access to the waste box. He can access to the toilet tissue also, which is reachable for him and accessible. So next thing is, here is another design of grab bars to the wash basin. Why this has been given is, one of our patients, she has a lower limb weakness, and what she has to wash her hands to do the prayer, she used to lean her body over the wash area, and she used to wash her hands. What happened, day by day it went off, and finally one day the wash area only broken out, and she had a severe fall and injury. So regarding that one, we have given this grab bars so that she can put her whole weight on the grab bars and do her wudu. I mean, she used to do hand washing for the prayer. Next thing, you can see this grab bar installed to the ground. It is very sturdy also. The other inexpensive, which if you want to try, you can try it also, is with a wooden one. You can make your wooden stools also with handles also, you can prefer, or without handles also. Just you can make a hole, and in India it's very easy for a carpenter to make this one, rather than going into an expensive method of buying a commode chair or anything. You can use this also, make a hole and keep it. Or if you want it with the casters wheels also, you can make them to attach a caster wheels. Or if you want a stationary one also, you can keep it over your toilet seat, so that it's easier for them to get up. A person with lower limb weakness, or he is not able to go down to the Indian type toilet, this will be inexpensive way for the toilet. So in bedroom, if at all, if you have a bed with a lower level, what you can do, you cannot afford every time to buy a new bed. So what you can do is, you can either use a wood, or in India it's very easy to get a stone or anything. So you can keep it under the legs of the bed, so that the bed automatically raised up. Or if you want to raise your head, you can keep only on the head side, so it comes up. Next thing is, you have to keep your bed in the side of the sides of the wall, so that one side at least it is secure. If a patient is rolling side to side and accidentally he will fall, so at least one side is secured. You can keep it near the wall, and this also will help you for the transfer. If you want to have a bed rise little up, it will help you for the transfer. Means you can do this all adjustment. Then you can keep a suction, rubber suction under the legs also, so that it will not slide. Next thing is, you have to have your telephone or medicine reachable, that is next to your bed. The switches, there are so many switches available, rocker type, rocker with the light sensor, pull cord extension. One of our patient had a pull cord extension in her bathroom, that is for the connection with the call bell. So if at all she has a frequent fall. Whenever if at all she is going to the ground, she is falling down. She used to have a pull cord extension that switch, so that she will alarm the caregiver so she can run and come and help the patient. So these are all the some of the recommendations in the bedroom we are giving. And for the stairs, if a patient, some patients, when we are giving, usually we will give the recommendations to get a room in the ground floor, or to change the room to the ground floor. But some people will be so resistant that they want to stay in the room where all the family members are there. Usually they will be all in the first floor. So they request us to be, they wanted to be in the first floor. So what are recommendations we can give? If he is affordable and if the home is accessible and they can do something with the lift, it's possible. If then we can do the recommendation of a lift inside, and from outside also we are giving the finishing everything, and how they are going to do everything by the manufacturer. They will come and fix it for them. If they are not able to this one, we are going into another option of a chair lift here. This one also we are providing them if they are able to this one. Some people, this is also good for Qataris because they will not pay here. So we recommend this one. If for non-Qatari and they wanted to be in the first floor, we are advising them this one. It's a wheelchair stair lift. It's available in the website Alibaba. We are already got it for 2 or 3 patients like this. I have seen with them. It's very nice. It can go up and down the stairs without any effort from the patient and the caregiver also. But only thing is you have to be very safe and the battery should be full enough. So these are the some recommendations we are giving for them if they really insist to be in the first floor. Otherwise, we mainly ask them to come ground floor only. So what is the impact of home modification? What will be the end benefit of your home modification? It empowers the individual. It enhances the quality of life. It supports their functional roles, decreases fall, decreases the burden of care for the caregivers, provide peace of mind for the family members. So this is the quote, one size does not fit all. So whatever here I have seen also, it's not fixed. It's not for all. It will be. This will be fine. It depends on the function, person to person. So the need, home modification standards are meant to meet the needs of the general public and rarely advises the individual needs. So these standards, all these standards are given for the general public. It's a one size fit. But you have to check the patient, you have to check what is their need, and accordingly you have to give them the recommendations. These are my references, and these are the PFE materials. What is the PFE materials? Is the patient family education material, we call it here. This we will hand it over the patient according to the need, what need they have, accordingly we will give them. If they need a ramp, we will give them this one. This is somewhat examples for a fixed one, and this one is for the portable ramp. And this is a PFA material which we are giving them to prevent fall at the home. Like you can see here, to organize the wire. As I said previously, electrical wire should be secure. If you're using your assistive device, kindly use when you're walking. Don't just get up and walk and have a fall. And you see here, it is unsecured rug. It is moving up and down. This one is a secured rug. We encourage them by a visual feedback. This is a visual feedback to them. We have it in their own language also we have it. Then here about the light. This one about the grab bars and handrails to the staircase. And about this one about the slippery floors, how it has to be. The next PFE will be on the home modification. As you all know, till now I was speaking about handrails, whether both side or single side. This one is handrails to the stairs inside the house. This one is foldable grab bars. If you want, you can have a foldable, or you can have it as a stationary one. Grab bars in the shower area, in the bathtub, and no pedestal base under the sink. So life is 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. So whatever happens to you, you have to take it as a positive way and you have to react it purposefully 90% way. So this was given by Charles. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. That was an interesting presentation. We were receiving some questions in the comment box, chat box. So, would you like me to read it out to you?
Sure, darling.
Okay. So, in this COVID situation, how do you manage home visits?
Usually what we are doing is we are doing a video conference and we are calling the patient. We are asking them which is the area, like what all the questions I said you, the area, the things of the steps, everything we can get it with a phone call or with a video call. And then we are asking them to send a picture of the 3 areas. We are asking them to send their bathroom, their bedroom, and their entrance. This is the 3 area photos we needed for modification. And this is the area which I already mentioned to you. So like that, we are communicating them and we are able to send them the pictures, everything. We are using now VC application. We have it here. Like your Zoom, everything. We have a paid one here in our corporation. So we are getting the information and sending the information in the same way, or through WhatsApp, we are sending the patient family education material, everything. We are not able to do physical visits still now, but we are starting slowly.
So do you use that app to measure virtually and the measurements?
The measurements is a little issue, but based on our experience, we know here, mostly in Qatar, it's a fixed one. Like the steps used to be 5 to 6 inches only, the steps. We just need the how many numbers of steps they have. So we can make it into multiply with the 12 or multiply with the 10, and we can give them a gradient, approximate gradient. We are not sure with the gradient.
So do you rely on any apps for this, or how efficient are those apps?
Which kind of apps, dear? What is the apps they are meaning to say?
I think to use the measurements virtually, to take the measurements virtually.
No, we are not using any ads. So we are just asking them to send a picture, direct picture of their house only. If they give us the consent that they can give us a picture, they can share us a picture. If they give the consent, we are doing it there.
Okay. So where is this non-skid mats available?
You can check with the Alibaba website. You can check it with the. For us, actually, we are ordering through the material management. So usually we will not buy from our side. Otherwise, we will have a company here. We are giving them the company names, they will get it. But through online, I'm not sure, dear. But you can check it with Alibaba.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So is there any low cost fixed to lower bed height?
Sorry?
Low cost ways to lower the bed height.
Lower the bed height.
Yes. You talked about increasing the height of the bed. So the question is to lower the bed height.
You can reduce the mattress size, dear. That is the only option.
Okay. So can you help us know more about the master's degree in home modification? Is there a master's degree in home modification?
Home modification, it's we have masters in rehabilitation, which is going on in AIPMR. So you can check with that rehabilitation, that one. A masters in rehabilitation.
Okay. So should ADA apply to all population? Do you have specific guidelines for Qatari population?
Actually, ADA is a standard one. It's a universal design. It can be fixed for any general public. But for a specific person, based on his need, you have to make it sure that it is safe for him. Like that, you have to arrange and give. For Qatari population, we are using the ADA near to the ADA standards. We are also not able to follow a fixed one. Based on the individual needs, we are able to give them.
Okay, so is there any home modification for a C3 complete SCI patient having low economic social status? Can you suggest few for a C3 complete SCI patient? C3.
What is the level they are saying? C3?
C3 complete.
Okay. C3 complete with they will have they will usually should have a assistive technology based only.
Mm-hmm.
Technology based only they can do it more because with their eye movements or with the snip and puff method or with the movement of the head they can access the environment. That's the thing. Technology based we can help them there to open their doors or to operate the TV.
Yeah.
So such things can be done with the technology, not more on
Thank you.
because it's a complete one.
Yeah, sure. So what are the challenges or specific difficulties you face when you do modification for patient living in rented house?
Rented house, here the law is you're not supposed to break anything, even a pinprick also, a hammer also, it's not allowed in Qatar unless you're getting permission from the landowner. So it's very difficult one. They have to call the landowner and they have to speak to them. That they will make it clear when they are moving out. So that difficulty we are facing it here. We cannot do the recommendation as we want, but everything should be consult with the landowner dear before doing anything, any of modification in the home. Even a partition also, it should be agreed from the government. We are not allowed to make it.
Okay. So again, can you share the name of the non-skid mat? Does it have a name, particular name? Maybe of the company.
Company. That's what actually I have shared to one of my patient. I'll just check whether it is there and let you know.
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, any other questions, dear, by the time?
Can you explain about the limitations on implementing home modifications?
Sorry, come back again.
Can you explain the limitations on implementing home modifications?
Limitation is like if for non-Qatari, we cannot go for an expensive one. We cannot give them as like what we are giving for the Qatari ones. That is the thing. Based on the expensiveness, and that's what money is the major thing here. Financial one, that is the thing. Limitations. And another thing is like some people will have difficulty in learning things. Even 100 times if you say also, they will not be able to understand what you're saying and they will do in an upside down. So barrier of language and learning ability also is a limitation for us.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Who are all the team members working along with OTs for home modification process?
Home modification, home healthcare services and CBR team, dear. CBR OT and home care OT, we both join together and we are making it. No other people are involved in home modification.
Okay. So, like, do you take the help of engineers or architects sometimes?
No, we don't have it here because it's a standard one. We will give them the recommendation and they will be the one to have because all the building here is constructed by the engineers only. So you
Okay.
cannot construct with a person like what we are doing it in our place. One simple construction, one simple modification means we can do it. As like India, no, not like that in Qatar. It has to have a
Okay.
engineer. It has to have a proper person. So we'll just guide them, and they will be the
Okay.
one to implement it. But we do
Okay.
have a occupational safety officer is there. For any safety reason, we will call him also safety officer.
Oh, okay. Okay. So another question: if the patients have cognitive difficulties, how we can recommend the home modifications?
This one, if there is a cognitive decline, then you can go for a bed with full side rails so that he will not fall. And in the bathroom, you can have it with non-skid mats so that if at all you yourself will be safe. We have a history of a patient fall because of the caregiver, because she had a slipper which is slippery on the bathroom. She slid and she caught the patient also with her. So the caregiver who has been with a patient should be uh, educated according with the safety. Mostly recommendations for the cognitive function is not that much. It's only the caregiver has to be safe in all the environment. Putting the seat belt on,
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Because he will not
So
know he will not know the reason why he is doing, how he is doing, based on the severity level. I'm saying for the severe condition, if he is not aware of anything, severely it is cognitively impaired, then it's full of the caregiver who will be responsible for the patient.
oh, okay, ma'am. So by that, I think we have come to the end of questions that were posted. So anyone would like to give feedback on the session?
Very good afternoon, ma'am. It's me Balaji from
Hi, good
Ramchandra Medical.
afternoon.
It's me Balaji from Ramchandra Medical College, who is doing his third year undergraduate program, and we are very glad to have your presence and a presentation on home accessibility assessment and recommendation for safety in adults, which will be very useful and very informative to all of us, and will be very informative for rehabilitation of geriatric units and recommending them home programs. In behalf of Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research college students, we all thank you for giving us your valuable experience on dealing with adultery safety. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you one and all for your kind attention and cooperation. Thank you all.
Thanks, Balaji. Anyone else would like
Good
to
evening,
share?
ma'am. Hello, good evening,
Okay.
ma'am.
Hi, good evening.
Ma'am, I'm Bennett
Good
from
evening.
final
Hi.
year. Yeah, hi, ma'am. I'm Bennett, ma'am, from final year Uti Sri Ramachandra. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for spending your time for us. That was a good and clear explanation, and it's a useful topic for all the batches. Expecting many such good lectures from you in the future, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bennett.
Hope to see you all again.
Oh, okay. So, like, like you can see, there are so many comments appreciating the presentation and your lecture, ma'am. So, I would like to formally thank you on behalf of Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research and also TN IOTA. I would like to thank the administration of Sri Ramachandra and TN IOTA for giving us this opportunity, and I would like to extend our gratitude towards you for accepting our invitation and also for sharing from your experiences. So I thank you for going into details of the assessments and explaining it very clearly. Thank you for mentioning the ADA Access mobile application. That was a new information for me, and also for explaining about the universal standards. So, and I also would like to thank the participants who are attending and cooperating with us from various places. Thank you for your cooperation and responses. And thank you for asking questions and making the sessions very interactive. And special mention to our HOD, Raghuram sir, and Assistant Professor Sundar sir for organizing and coordinating this webinar. And this is the 4th webinar that Sri Ramachandra OT department is conducting. So last but not the least, and I would like to thank the students and faculty of Sri Ramachandra for their support and cooperation. Thank you all. Thank you for your
Thank you.
cooperation and participation.
Ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your very good presentation. Call you back now.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Raghuram. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.